Yeah, but I mean, if I'm taking a shit anyway, I might as well have a shit in front of me to look at.
She does really good with auto tune. Maybe they auto acted.
I wanna be your dominated love slave.
So I am a
spelled
massive
S-A-V-E.
failure. I
Delete
suck.
D-E-L-E-T-E.
Yes.
We can just do a quick recap and not, we'll
Yeah.
just lose the part of the conversation where we talked about it.
Yeah, because I'm recording all of this shit right now because that was fantastic. And you're with your host West. It's still, you guys did it again.
Yeah, Chris, although he's going to call
Fuck
it
you,
Tom.
Wes. You're only getting one out of me. God damn it. It's not my fault you can't operate a simple recording device.
And apparently we did not record or we managed to delete the first part of this huge
Which
conversation.
means that you've not heard all the good shit and everything else is going to suck. Sorry about that. Imagine we said a bunch of cool, funny shit.
Yeah, just operate under a religious-like belief that everything we said was awesome, even if it wasn't.
Oh, so we've been talking about our favorite games, and yeah.
The three I managed to cover were Resident Evil 2, Galaga, and shit, I honestly don't remember the other one.
See, it wasn't that good. No,
oh, Armored Core.
Yeah.
Armored Core.
Armored Core.
I had to look at the two I had left on my notes.
Mine was Parasite Eve, Silent Hill 2, and Super Mario Brothers 3. And yours was Link to the
Mine was Zelda, Link to the Past, Mario Kart, and Parasite Eve. I snuck on there. It didn't actually quite make my list, but it was in consideration. But when Wes said it, I figured I had to give it a bump up to at least get a double mention.
Okay, sweet on. So that, I guess, puts us at 2 at this point, and I am not gonna epic fail again because we just lost like 20 minutes of recording. That's awesome.
Way to go.
Yep.
Way to go.
Yep.
It's okay. We'll live. This too shall pass.
This is what you get for allowing the man who can barely operate the CD player in his car to record shit.
Hey man, he'd be better at it than I am. I'm shit with audio recording.
I'm actually having a little trouble picking out 1 and 2. What about you?
I'm not. I have notes.
Oh, well, okay.
I know what my other two are.
Well, what are you?
I don't have any notes because I didn't have any time to prepare any. I've been jotting things down
Well,
that's fine.
in my Grail diary.
I have
in no particular order. I'll go ahead and mention the one just because I touched on it earlier in our deleted segment when we were talking about how awesome the gun modding was for Parasite Eve. I bumped on Final Fantasy VII's materia system.
Right.
So Final Fantasy VII makes my list. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're not a real Final Fantasy fan if Final Fantasy VII's your favorite." And you know that's cool with me too. I've not played a lot of the older ones, but I have played a few of the new ones since 7, and every one I've played has sucked besides 7. So
I want to throw my hat in the ring on this one as well. I didn't pick 7, not because 7's super awesome, but because I was almost guaranteed that one of you guys were going to pick it. So, in the interest of spreading the love around, I went with Final Fantasy 6, which is actual Final Fantasy 2 in America. 6, fucking Japanese people, I don't know what to tell you. 6 in the series, 2 in America. It goes 1, 2, 3, skip to 7. Where did those other ones go? Well, because they actually came out. This is the one with Cecil, who ends up starting out as the Dark Knight and turns into the Paladin, which helped me basically decide to make every character I ever played in any game from that point on that could possibly be a Paladin, become a Paladin before I played any other character, because that story worked so fucking well for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was fucking phenomenally awesome. I love it. A lot of people like to say Final Fantasy 3, which is Final Fantasy... Actually, not fucking it up. Sorry. Final Fantasy 2 is Final Fantasy 4 in Japan. I couldn't even get it right. Fucking Japanese people. Final Fantasy 6 is Final Fantasy 3. Let me go ahead and correct that since I'm wrong. Final Fantasy 4 is the one I picked. Final Fantasy 6 is Final Fantasy 3, which most people say is probably the best of the series. That's one with the little chick, and they summon the Espers, and it starts out and you got little robot people, and it's got like the ninja guy, and I don't know. Everybody says it's awesome. I've never actually beat it because we only had one video store that had it back in the day, and it was like always checked out, or somebody never returned it or something, so I never actually finished it. Now, I've never taken the time to play through it on the emulator as of yet. But I'm going to throw my hat in the ring for number 2, which is 4, which is 3 before 7, which is one Chris picked.
I've got to give props to 7 only because, I mean, it's not anywhere on my list, but it was a good game. The story was really good. It was always fun to watch. One of you beat Ruby, the other one beat Emerald, right?
Yeah, I beat Ruby.
Oh, you beat both of them, Cory?
I never beat Emerald.
Actually, no.
Because
I take that back. I beat Emerald. I never beat Ruby because after I got Emerald, I'd already got my gold chocobo. The reward for beating Ruby was the gold chocobo. So I said, fuck it.
Oh yeah, no. About that. By the way, just so I can give a little information on Ruby.
You get the retarded chocobo for beating him, don't you? The one that's like ridiculously slow.
You get the one that has some kind of birth defect. Because I tried racing that thing, I was like, oh hey, I wonder if it's at least a decent racer. Oh my god, it's the only gold chocobo that gets beat by the regular chocobos. Like, what? It runs around in circles while you're on the track. It literally has downs or something. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with it. But I beat Ruby with dazers. Like, I got so tired of losing that I just decided to go down all those crappy little items you pick up in 7 that you never use, like the grenade that does like 10 damage to everybody. It's like, no thanks, I can just put on slash all and hit quad 9 on everything, but okay. Yeah, but I went down the list alphabetically. It didn't take too long to get to the D's, and I was like, man, there's no way a Dazer's going to work on him because
that's just shit for the little cactus people, ain't it?
Yeah, you get the Dazers. It's supposed to paralyze the enemy, but any other time you try it in the game, it's like miss, and it doesn't work on anything. I threw it first time, blink, and he's like frozen solid. Like, what the? How does that work? And he's so easy to beat if you use Dazers. Emerald, on the other hand, is unbeatable unless you have final attack, which I could never get because you win it from betting on chocobo races, which takes lottery luck apparently to get, because after countless hours of betting on chocobo races, I couldn't get it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have the well, I mean, there's multiple ways to do it, but the real easy, like, douche way to do it is you combine final attack with Phoenix or whatever it is.
Final attack, Phoenix, final attack, revive. Either way, it basically, when he does his attack that pretty much wipes everybody, it brings you back. Yeah. Phoenix is a better pair up. The strategy guide says to use revive, but Phoenix is a better pair up because it reses everybody and it does damage.
Yeah. The only thing that's bad about it, I found out, is like, well, it's pretty obvious, but it's so fucking expensive that it's not a complete win to get me, because you got to keep having enough damn mana to keep casting shit, because it still uses mana when you cast it, even though it's your final attack. But I remember sitting upstairs in my tidy whities playing Emerald Weapon over and over again. You know, I was so fucking excited when I finally beat him. I can't even begin to describe it. I don't even remember what you get for beating him. I don't. I just remember that I beat his ass.
Oh, you get the master magic for all the different schools.
Did you?
Oh, that's right. That's right. You get the free master materia.
Yeah, instead of having to level it all up yourself, you get given it.
Which is fuck awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty fucking awesome.
Did you have an erection that was something to be afraid of?
See, that's why I think the Emerald Weapon is cheap, because he got to have that. He got to have that wonderful experience of beating Emerald Weapon. I got to have that completely underwhelming experience of beating Ruby Weapon with Dazers and then winning a retarded chocobo.
Basically, you're just like, what the fuck? Awesome, I beat him! This is the dumbest prize ever!
Like, his was like the equivalent of winning a physics debate with Stephen Hawking. Mine was the equivalent of beating a zombie corpse at chess. Like, that was the challenge level once I...
See, the bad thing is, like, okay, it takes quite a while for you to raise a gold chocobo, but not nearly as much as it would take for you to level all those master materials. I remember playing Final Fantasy VII, and I don't remember keeping track at the time, but I'm willing to bet it was like a month plus or something. It was weeks of doing nothing but logging on and, like, breeding chocobos like I was some kind of goddamn, like, you know, geneticist or something.
Oh yeah, man, Aaron and I played that shit like it was, you know, we were fucking specialists or some shit. Like, we even found the places, the, like, mobs you could farm for the best greens to feed them.
No. Oh,
that's right. Green.
But yeah, no, I mean the reason Final Fantasy makes my list is not just because it's like my favorite of the games, but e out of all the Final Fantasies I played, because that gives it like its own edge, and that I've played other ones and they sucked to me. But at the time, like, yeah, the graphics were kind of crappy until they got to a cutscene. Like the cutscenes at the time were really good looking.
They were like smoking.
Oh,
Awesome.
right.
And the story itself, like even with all the little side stories and stuff, were just they were cool. Like, and some of it you could completely skip over and miss in the game, which is what made it awesome if you did do it. Like where you go and you find out that all the ancients were basically transformed into all the monsters you've been committing,
Right, yeah.
genocide against the whole game.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Or Vincent the Vampire, who you can completely not get at all.
And Yuffie.
yeah.
Or Yuffie, which that's no big loss there because she fucking blows.
Yeah.
John loved her, by the way. Yeah, go figure.
Okay,
Well-
right, there you go. There you go. Proving my point.
I've got to put a game on my list that I don't think either one of you guys have played.
Tomcat,
Asshole.
Razor Claw.
No,
Those are still better names for his druid than the one he's got right now. The name of his druid right now was Rur. R-U-R. Rur.
Which is often enough the sound that a retarded autistic boy makes when he's rocking back and forth, like John.
yeah,
God damn it.
I'm not gonna edit John out of this one. Fuck it.
Yeah.
But no, I've got to put Heavy Rain on my list. It's one of the games that I played over the recent couple of years that was something I've never played before, and I think that was part of the reason it was as compelling as it was. And coming
An
from
adventure game, isn't it?
yeah, it's an adventure game, but it plays more like a movie. It's almost as entertaining for the person playing as the anybody who's watching it. It's just a really long movie. And coming from the background of just hanging out in the video store with you guys, it's a really good and entertaining game. Downside is you have to be kind of an idiot to not get the good ending, even though there's 12 endings or something like that. Which I still haven't unlocked all of them, but I know there's one where the dude's standing in front of his son's grave and he just pulls the trigger. And I'm like, I want that.
The depressing ending.
There's like
Wes,
3 of those.
looking for the fail ending.
It'll
And
probably
a sidetrack, I think Wes has some issues that we need to discuss somewhere where I'm going to get paid for it on an hourly rate. We were playing Borderlands 2, and there's a quest where Jack, like, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go kill yourself. And you have a choice. You can go up there and you can choose to kill yourself or not. It doesn't matter. And Wes like, I want to do that. I want to go. And he fucking went and jumped off. And he's like, that was awesome. Wes. He's like, I'm so glad I just killed myself. That was the best quest in the entire game is when I jumped off the cliff.
No, that is not true. The best quest in the entire game is shoot this guy in the face.
Whatever. Tiny Tina. My badonkadonk, my ladies.
Yes.
They got bazungas like you wouldn't believe.
That was a rap I wrote.
What? In the butt.
Yeah, Corey, me and you need to
Anyway.
sit down and record a conversation about just that game thus far.
Well, what would one of your last two be, Mr. Cory?
You know what? I already tossed it in.
Oh yeah, you hit Final Fantasy.
No, I tossed that one in. That was on the list. I actually have 3 because I gave Parasite Eve a spot which didn't have it to begin with.
Oh, okay.
All right, fair enough.
But I want to give this one, and then I'll get to my top one at the end. And I only give my top one. Before that, though, Smash Brothers.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Which version?
The GameCube version.
The GameCube version for me.
I-
No, wait. Yeah, GameCube version. Yeah.
I like
Melee.
Brawl a lot, don't get me wrong. I really did enjoy Brawl. But I do have to give it to you as well. That was a fantastic game.
Smash Brothers almost made my list just because I'm shit awful at that game. I finally I started playing with the girlfriend a little bit, and I actually started to learn actual moves for Pikachu other than calling lightning down like I'm fucking Thor. And I figured out that Pikachu is actually pretty much a shit awful character. So I need to find somebody that's
Yeah.
actually good that has more than just the one decent move.
That's like Link, right? Because I love playing as Link, but he's not really all that good. It's just I've gotten phenomenally good at using his moves to do stuff. As far as power-wise, if you had to rank him, he's not even remotely close to the top. Not at all. Like if you get somebody who's ridiculously good, the absolute best, I'm sure anybody says, you can look at what people play. The absolute best character in Smash Brothers Melee is fucking Star Fox.
Yep.
Well,
because if you get good at using his little shield breaker move, you can instantly end matches. Period. There's no.
He's got the gun that interrupts shit. He's got the little like fireball trail thing that he can do, where he can do that little mini teleport type dash.
Isn't Jigglypuff somewhere up on the top of the list too? If you learn how to play him.
Oh yeah, she plays Jigglypuff, but that's not because Jigglypuff is complete shit. But he has a move that little sleeper move that if you're right on top of him when he does it, it sends your ass off. Like if you're anywhere,
that's kind of the thing with Star Fox too.
Okay, fair enough.
Star Fox has this little, I don't know if you remember what it is. It looks gay. It doesn't look like it does anything at all. It's a little like shield move he does where it looks like a little like blue hexagon or something appears around him real quick. It's a real quick flash.
Yeah.
And what you do is when you use it, it'll reflect projectiles, right? But if you do it when someone's right on top of you, like or you throw yourself at them and do it and time it right, and I've seen people get ridiculously good at it. They can do it in the air and do all kinds of shit. Like it literally works just like Jigglypuff's sleep move, and it would just launch your ass off the screen. Period.
That's like Game & Watch, except Game & Watch gets the shitty version of it.
Game & Watch!
Where he does
hammer.
Like, he does those flags with the numbers on them, and if it's a 9, it sends your ass flying off, but you have like a 1 in 9 chance of it being a 9. So most of the time it does nothing.
I forget, Zelda's in that game too, right?
Yeah, she's in there as Zelda and Sheik.
Yeah, she is retarded. Like playing her it's fantastic because she runs all over the board. She's got great spectrum, and I would say she's like the better version of Link.
She's kind of like a Shang Tsung type character, where if you're good enough at like multiple different things, you could use Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat to just pop into whoever you needed to be for the moment.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean she's got 2 full different move sets, so yeah, I mean without a doubt. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I still love Link just because I've got really good at doing what he does, but he's not remotely the best character. The best character in the first game was the unlockable, which was Ness. Ness using the PK fire and his baseball bat, fucking retarded. There's no just fucking retarded. Like if You know what? Fuck it. You know what that reminds me? I'm gonna stick another into my list.
I was gonna say
fuck your five list, West. I'm going deep on this one. Earthbound. What's up? I know I'm the only one of you two bitches who played that game.
I never had the system to play it on.
I never.
Not my fault. You suck.
I had a Genesis instead of a Super Nintendo. I love
Okay.
Genesis.
All right. Seriously. I said it's not my fault. You suck. You said I had a Genesis. I mean that's like. I mean, come on.
I'm sorry.
Don't help me out.
I no longer wanted to play family-friendly games.
Say what?
I no longer wanted to play family-friendly games.
Well, that's never been an issue for me. I look for quality, and my biggest thing back then was RPGs, and Genesis sucked balls for RPGs. One RPG.
This is a fair assertion. That's probably why I didn't get into RPGs until PlayStation, because there were none available for me to play that were any good.
Yeah, and
Genesis always struck me as like the cool guy, edgy video game system. It was like the fucking Mountain Dew commercials of its time, extreme.
That's honestly, you want to know the reason I bought the.
I want to be motherfucking Vectorman and Comic Zone, bitch.
Comic Zone is a fantastic game.
No, the game that made me buy a Genesis, and you're gonna think this is incredibly lame, but the game that made me buy the Genesis was Sonic the Hedgehog.
I can agree with that.
That game,
I fucking loved Sonic games. Like
that game is games. Mario on crack. And
I mean, some of those games. we're pretty.
My favorite game for the Genesis was the X-Men game that made you feel like a fucking moron.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
That was actually
that was
actually gonna make my list of.
I enjoyed X-Men 2 a lot more. The Clone Wars, right? That was the title of it.
No.
I know it's like balls. The one I'm talking about is the one that makes you feel like a moron when you get to the Mojo level.
Yeah, no. X-Men 3. When we move on to where we talk about hardest games, that was actually one of my 3 because because of that one level where it's like, please reset Cerebro, and you're like, the fuck Cerebro, and you run around, and the whole time you're running around, the little timer's ticking down, and you have to hit reset on the video game system. It's like, what?
Like I can't even tell you. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I passed that level and like got so pissed off because I couldn't figure out. I went back to the level looking for some switch I missed until I finally, instead of just getting pissed off and dying or turning off, I was like, fuck this shit, and I hit reset. And like little cursor comes up and it's like an Apple II computer reboot, and I was like, no. 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 I couldn't decide whether I'd been in an abusive relationship or I had Stockholm syndrome. I was like, well, Couple with my other favorite thing about that game is the level you completely cheat and beat in like 10 seconds. The goddamn Excalibur's lighthouse, where you can go through his nightcrawler and run across the top level of it and just face the walls to the elevator on the other side, go up and end the level, and you can be done with it in 15 seconds. 1,000 times easier than actually trying to play that level because it's balls-ass hard.
I think that's kind of the point, because it is Excalibur's lighthouse after. That was your clue to pick Nightcrawler. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if that was true, if that was their actual game design philosophy.
And they didn't think that far ahead those days.
I don't know, man.
I just can't believe. I still find it hard to believe they figured out a way to fucking code it so that hitting reset on the goddamn system made the game continue from a different point.
Yeah,
that still blows my mind.
That far back, that blows my mind. That technology. Like, I was impressed in Metal Gear Solid when motherfucker could read my memory card. Tell me that I played entirely too much.
In Resident Evil.
Symphony of the Night almost made my list too, by the way, since we're mentioning him reading the memory card. Along with Metal Gear Solid, that almost made my list because that was a really fun game.
It was.
If I go Symphony of the Night though, I got to go back to the originator. I got to go back to Super Nintendo again and go Super Metroid, because all fucking Symphony of the Night is just like Super Metroid plus.
Oh yeah, but I like Symphony of the Night better because you get to play Dracula spelled backwards.
Alucard. Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Well, what's your number 2, Wes, or did we hit your number 2?
We already did my number 2.
Oh, okay.
We're at the number 1s.
All right. Well, what's the last one?
I think my last one, it's more of an ashamed one, just because the game's not really that good. But I enjoy.
I mean, it's not good games. It's favorite games.
Twisted Metal 2. That game, it would give anybody a seizure. B, it had a fantastic soundtrack. Like, you turn that thing on and you're like...
It's Twisted Metal 2 or Twisted Metal 3? Because I was going to say Twisted Metal 3 was fun, because I thought that was the one with, like, the Rob Zombie soundtrack.
Well, no, he was on that one as well, but I think 2 was the first one that they did just a mainstream list of artists on. Because you could also take that game, put it in your CD player, skip track 1, and it would play all the songs on the disc.
Because I think three was the one that I liked, because it had a bunch of Rob Zombie stuff off of Hellbilly Deluxe, and then it had some other bands. But there was a level where you like killed Santa Claus or some shit.
Yeah, that was 3. And 2, you unlocked. I think you unlocked. No, not Axel. You unlocked the semi truck. What Death Side, Dark Side. You unlocked that. And then you played back through the game. It was the only game that I'm amazed I didn't get a seizure from, but I kept trying to beat it, and that game gives you no sense of help. Like, you are the one guy at the table that everybody wants to beat, and you're always against the computer, and you hate yourself. And I picked up the newer one recently, and it's the exact same way. Like, the computer doesn't go after itself, it goes after you. And you're just like, I suck this much more. Corey,
Twisted Metal, another series didn't get into. Like, I don't know. Like, I think part of it was I'm not a huge car gamer anymore, and I know that's not really what that is.
Yeah.
But part of it's that. Part of it's it once again kind of the same logic as the Genesis. It struck me as that kind of like I'm gonna be fucking edgy to be edgy, and that shit just kind of aggravates me. Like I don't like stuff that's gritty and dark just for the sake of being gritty and dark. And that's what Twisted Metal, I mean, was back then originally. You know, I'm not saying it morphed into something different, but to begin with, it was like, oh, look, it's a scary fucking clown.
I think Twisted Metal Black was a better game as an overall because they incorporated more interest into the story arcs and giving you progression and reason to continue going forward. But 2 was the first time that I'm like, this game is so ridiculously hard and I have to beat it. I
didn't like fall in love with the series. I mean, 3, I played 1 and 2, and they were fun. But 3 was really the one that was the most fun to me and had the most characters that I liked playing. Or cars, I guess, not even really like characters because they barely have stories. But you know, it was fun. I don't know if it would approach my list, but it was a fun game.
Yeah, no, I think Black hands down is better. If I was to turn anybody onto the Twisted Metal series, it would be start with Black, because Black goes into all the character arcs and giving true backstories and why they drive their vehicles that they do, and they introduce a bunch of new characters. But with that being said, there's unlockable characters that you get later on that you don't know who they are until you go back and play the older games, like Axel. Like, you have no idea what his fucking story is until you go back and play, like, 1 and 2. Because he breaks both of his arms in 2 at the end of his story, and he's like, I'm gonna go kill my dad with no hands. Weird, but whatever.
Yeah.
See, that, once again, it just seems like it suffers from a case of, as Penny Arcade likes to put it, ooh, the darkness of grim darkiness. You know,
pretty much, yeah.
None more black. That shit. I mean, I don't mind a game being dark and stuff, but when it seems like it's going to do it just to do it, which is, you know, really that's Twisted Metal's little niche. Is we're going to be fucking dark and edgy and I don't know. It's very specific, a certain way that has to work for me. That just doesn't do it for me in that case.
I totally understand that. I know it's a little niche, and I know a bunch of people had a little bit of fun playing it, but for whatever reason, it was the one game, like, I'm bored, I put this game in. And I always play it, and it's always fun.
I can totally get that. Well, what would be your last one then, sir? Since Wes just did his.
Fuck, y'all brought up Earthbound, but I'm not going to use Earthbound.
You brought up Earthbound.
But we'll have nothing to talk about because you bitches have never played it. And you know what, this one's probably not going to be a whole lot better, but at least you've heard of it. I'm going to go fucking Chrono Trigger.
Oh, I played...
Everyone considers that, or a lot of people consider that one of their favorites.
Which Chrono Trigger? I played the one on PlayStation 2. I don't know the title of it, but...
Talking about Chrono Cross?
Oh, yes, never mind. Forget I said that. No, yeah, that's the sequel to Chrono Trigger, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a, well, kind of. It's like a weird-ass, like, pseudo-sequel that kind of makes reference to the first one, but has, like, almost nothing in common with the story. Fuck it. It's no, not really. Yes, but no. I don't know. It's like, it's one of those things where, like, all of a sudden now people are kind of saying they appreciate it, but back then people are like, what the fuck? Why is it this Chrono Trigger 2? Which I can still agree with, but Chrono Trigger, the first one, okay, first off, and this was before I'd ever even seen anything that even resembled Dragon Ball Z or whatever. Akira Toriyama artwork, fucking character artwork, awesome. Mm-hmm. Didn't know Dragon Ball Z existed, had never seen it, so it wasn't like I was jumping on that bandwagon. In fact, so much so, after Dragon Ball Z appeared, I was like, holy shit, that looks like the shit from Chrono Trigger. You know, that's kind of backwards. There's like a bunch of different endings to it, which is awesome. I like the fact that like the main character dies You have to bring him back.
Oh.
That was kind of cool.
Which they then copy in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
It dies. You have to bring him back, and then but once you here's the cool part though that's interesting. Once he dies and you bring him back, even though he's still the main character, you don't have to play with him anymore.
Oh.
You can have an entire group that doesn't have him in it.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
I mean, you could have. Another thing I really love is like the super bad guy at the beginning, who like you think's the bad guy, and then you go back to his past, and like he's still a McDouche, like he's doing whatever. And then you go back to the way past, like thousands of years in the past when like the world was different. It was like floating islands and shit. And you see him when he's a little kid and what happened and why he did it. And he's doing all this evil like to get back and try to summon this monster to destroy his world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing all this evil shit to summon it so he can kill it. So he's a total dick face because he's killing people to do what he's doing, but he's doing it so he can get revenge on the thing that killed like his friends and family.
Right.
But like the thing that's cool about it is like you get to a point where you can fight him.
Okay.
And you don't have to. You can get him to join you. He becomes a member you can use in your party.
Now, I forget, in that game, was it impossible to get every single character, or could you get every possible playable character?
You could get every character, but you couldn't get, depending on what you did, you could not get the best ending. For instance, if you took that guy, whose name is, I want to say Malgus so bad, and that's not right. Anyway, if you got him, you couldn't get the best ending for Frog, like, because everybody had their own little kind of separate ending to show what they were doing once you finished the game.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't get Frog's best ending because he was the one who turned Frog into a frog.
Oh, gotcha.
And so if he joined your side, you didn't get his best ending. So it was a choice, you could get him, and he was like the main character that was missable. But there was all these little side quests and stuff to do that were kind of like storyline background quests that were cool because they gave you background on the characters and gave them like special abilities or whatnot. Kind of something they ended up copying when they did Mass Effect games, but they gave them backstory. They gave them an idea, but it also helped lead towards what the final say would be on them at the end of the game. I don't know. It's just an awesome game. It's got the active time battle system, which is the same thing Final Fantasy VII ended up using. Mm-hmm. The thing I liked about it is you moved around the playfield. It wasn't like Final Fantasy where it was left and right, or right and left, depending on what way you're facing. All the enemies were on the screen all the time. So they didn't jump out at you. And you could see them. You could try to run and avoid them if you wanted to. Or you could run and fight them. When you fought them, it didn't change to a separate screen. You fought them right there in that area you were at.
Yeah.
The screen changed. It brought up the fight attack menus and all that stuff. But then as you did your moves, it moved you around the battlefield, meaning if you were in the bottom left corner and you attacked the guy that was in the upper right corner with like a slashing attack, when you stopped your attack, you were now in the upper right corner as well. And so it moved your placement around the battlefield, so it added another level of strategy because if you knew a boss had like a big AoE attack or something that targeted multiple people, you could spread your people out so that only one person would get hit by choosing specific places and people to attack.
Mm-hmm.
Something that you didn't have to do, but it added another level of strategery to it.
Okay, fair. No,
plus it had a bang-ass story because there's a reason why it's generally considered. If you ask people to play RPGs, it's normally in the top 3 easily, probably, without a doubt.
I've never played it, and I know that. The one for PlayStation 2, I know that you couldn't. It was impossible, as far as I remember. It was impossible to beat the game and get all the side characters because you were set up with you either get this person or this person. You can't get both.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know.
And like I said, it was a little bit different too. I mean, yeah, one of the big things with that was there was so many damn characters, and it was like 2 alternate realities. And one reality you were playing like a cat person, and then the other reality you were playing like another person, and then you found out that it did tie into the first one, but it was such a tiny, tenuous strand of tie-in that I was just like, fuck you guys. God damn it.
I totally understand that. That game should be in like the top 10 games of all time, hands down. So what does that put you at, dude?
That's his last one. I'm the only one that has one left, and I saved it for last just so you guys could like shower hate on me for it. um,
Uh-huh.
but I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with World of Warcraft.
Fuck you
But
and your
let
little
No,
but let me
hormel.
but let me explain why. One, it's the only MMO that I've played that I could get into and stay into.
All right.
Two, it was my first major MMO. So you know
You're welcome.
you always remember your first. And yeah, you're the one that more or less got me into that. Or showed it to me, and then we both went out and like bought it at the same time. Uh, and three, of all the games I've ever played that had any kind of measurable lore, Warcraft is probably one of the best. I mean, you got books. The game itself has lots of lore and story you can dig into at your own option. I feel like story wise, where the gameplay wise has failed on a bunch of fronts, recently and in the past, the story itself has never been really bad. The story itself has actually always been kind of good.
Mm-hmm.
With the exception of them forgetting about characters for a long time, and you're like, okay, when are we ever going to find out what happens with this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like fucking what's his face, Alduin the Lightbringer or whatever his name is.
Or Terralion and Illyria, or
Terralion, that's who I was thinking of. Terralion. Yeah. Who like disappeared and like they still haven't been like.
You know, someone listening to this just went like, "No, you mean this person," and to that person, I say, "Fuck you."
Well, you know how it is. It's been a while since I read the book.
Yeah. I mean, gameplay wise, World of Warcraft is not fantastic. It doesn't do anything groundbreaking that most other games haven't either copied.
No, that's not true though. Here's the way I rank that stuff. Right, I think that has every right to be on a list. I just stuck with console stuff because I wasn't particularly thinking about it. There's 3 games that have made MMOs what they are today. The first one is Ultima Online.
Yep.
Period. Ultima Online was more of a sandbox.
Yep.
You know, go around, kill a bunch of people, kill other people, steal their stuff, etc., etc. Then you have what I think was the refinement of the genre with EverQuest, which is still fucking going. All right, EverQuest, class-based system, leveling up, different spells and stuff a level, molding, you know, D&D and its basic architecture with video gaming and collecting loot and everything. And then you had Warcraft, which Warcraft was made by a bunch of people who fucking played EverQuest. Tiggle, Fur, whatever you want to call each other, that was those guys. They were guild leaders in EverQuest. They were the top tier guild. Blizzard saw them, knew they were good at what they did, and that they understand what worked and what didn't work, and they hired them. These dudes got jobs on one of the most successful game in the history of games, and they got it because they played another fucking video game.
Pretty much.
I mean, they did. Warcraft absolutely deserves a place. It changed the gaming landscape. Is it a fluke? Yes, it is. It was a zeitgeist. It hit at the right possible time with the right collection of stuff when pop culture is willing to accept it.
Well,
will there ever be another game that's going to match that level of stuff? I highly doubt it.
There is that. You know, I do agree with that. But I also think part of its success is similar to the success of like D&D 4.0 because they made it easier, and for people who don't want to get involved with all of the charting and making sure of this, that, and another thing, more people got involved with it because it was an easier game.
See that. It's deceptive, though. It's easy to pick up, hard to master. When you look at these dudes that are doing these high-level raids and things of that nature, you want to talk about spreadsheets and shit and calculating their fucking damage per second down to, well, you got to do this and do this every 2.3 seconds when this rotation comes up because that's going to get you this many stacks of this. So it's fucking ridiculous.
Oh, no.
I mean, these people are crazy.
My favorite are the people that crunch the math behind like theoretical things, like talents and stuff that don't even directly affect damage, but like they're movement speed based. It's like, well, on this fight where you have to move, this represents this % damage increase. It's like, okay, someone took that to a level it didn't need to go to.
Very, very, very true.
the thing about, like I said, Warcraft came at the right time. I mean, and the thing was, it got to take advantage of something. EverQuest had been out for 5 years. People
I thought it was
loved
longer than
EverQuest,
that.
just like people end up loving Warcraft for the people that play with everything. But it was getting, it was starting to not necessarily get long in the tooth, but it had been out long enough that the people that were playing it wanted that fresh car smell. That's what it's about with MMOs. That new car smell, that new story, that new world, seeing shit you've never seen before, experiencing stuff you've never experienced before, et cetera, et cetera.
Well,
and it came along, and it hired all those people that were good at it, and then it took everything that was good at EverQuest, and it kept it the way they were looking at it. It made it easy to play by yourself. That was the biggest thing. You could not fucking realistically, 99% of people cannot play by yourself in EverQuest. You got to have a group. It means you are reliant upon other people to do everything. Now, there's good and there's bad to have to go with that, obviously. It promotes community, which Warcraft does not really do as much, especially now that random dungeon finder, things of that nature, but once again, good and bad. Good because I can get on and I know I can have something to play with, 10 minutes in. But bad because now it might be somebody I'll never see again because they're 14 servers over mixed in with another 8 million people. But it got to take advantage of the fact that it was a solitary market at the time. You were going to play EverQuest or you were going to play Warcraft. Warcraft came out. Warcraft was the next natural progression. Everybody went to it. Plus, it picked up everybody through all the pop culture references and marketing and everything. It'll never happen again because now the market has a level of saturation. Warcraft, Star Wars, everything coming out free to play. There's 1,000 more options than there was back then.
Yeah.
And so by nature, what's going to happen is that crowd of people, that millions of people, whatever, are going to slowly, one way or the other, disperse between all those games. And stuff will end up being back around like it was with EverQuest. The EverQuest peak, I think it had like 500,000 players, which was fucking unheard of at the time. Unheard of. All that many people playing one game. And Warcraft at its peak had like 11 million.
Yeah, 11 million, I think.
And that's nth degree more than EverQuest. But the thing people got to remember is, 500,000 is still a lot of fucking people. They say they look at all these MMOs and they say they're a failure and everything based on the fact that they're only pulling 200,000 people. 200,000 people is ridiculously profitable if you're doing your job right.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're free to play and you're just doing microtransactions, you can make a ton of money off 200,000 players.
I mean, it's ridiculously profitable.
It's just that right now in the market, because Warcraft leads everything by such a huge margin, everything's success is based off Warcraft, which I don't think is really fair.
Not wise.
No.
Because there's no way another game, unless conditions line themselves up like they did for Warcraft, I don't think you'll see another game hit that many people.
The only game I would put up there with Warcraft, and that only because it went on as long as it did, and as popular as it was, even though a lot of people hadn't heard about it, is StarCraft. StarCraft was a fantastic game, and it had a following that is stronger than most other games on the planet.
Wes, you realize it's made by the same people, right?
No, I do. I do understand that, but that's part of the point, I guess, is they understand what it takes to create a following.
No. I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily agree with the fact that you said that not a lot of people knew about it. If you were remotely a gamer, even if you didn't play StarCraft, you fucking knew about StarCraft. Exactly. And you knew that you might as well not play because the Koreans were going to stomp your ass into the ground.
The Germans are bad too.
Yeah. No,
you guys keep talking about that.
StarCraft is the official fucking sport of Korea.
I know.
I'm not even being like hyperbolic when I say that. I mean, like, it's literally in their government listed as the official sport.
Yep.
I know.
They painted on their cars and shit. You guys keep yakking about that for a little bit. I got to run downstairs and grab my laundry.
All right, do that. No,
all right,
but I mean, I'll give you WoW to a point. One of the things I don't like about WoW is it was way too easy for people to get involved with it. That's
the point, though.
Well, me and my attention span, I'm just like, this is way too much shit to do. I'm good. But
well, see, that's what you said, though. See, it targets different type of personality, and even people with your attention span, as you like to put it, if you'd played it or had a reason or were constantly playing with people you knew, it could have probably got its talents into you as well to a certain extent. The game is just meticulously made. It's the ultimate carrot on the stick game. I mean, the whole point is that you're leveling. You get to see the stuff, you're participating in stuff, but it's to get a little bit better, to make it better, to be incremental. That's the reason why John has a problem he does stopping and playing other games now. Same reason I did when I was playing EverQuest. I went years and never played a console game. I didn't own a PlayStation 2. Get the whole damn system completely.
See, I've
had
always...
a PlayStation. Didn't have a PlayStation 2. I didn't have a PlayStation 2 because I didn't buy console games because I was playing EverQuest when it was fucking cheaper. It weren't $10 a month, you know, when it first started.
When I first moved away and was trying to get involved into WoW so I could play with you guys online, I learned really quickly, because that was my period of playing computer games, that I have to distinguish a difference between what is built for what I need to do work on, because I do a lot of work on my computer, and what I need to do to play games. It's why I went back to console so heavy. Computers do have great games, but I need that separation, because if I wind up looking at my computer and it becomes a computer game, or if the computer system becomes the gaming system, then I'm never going to do work on it. All I'm going to want to do is game. And I know it's a psychological trick, but I know it's what I need to do in order to separate. Part of the reason I quit WoW.
I can understand that. I mean, you know, see, for me, computer has always been a gaming system. I flip-flop. I go between playing computer stuff nonstop and playing console stuff nonstop, vice versa. Steam is where it's at. If you don't do computer games at all, and you got a system that can do it, Steam. When you get their sales and stuff, you can pick up so many awesome games, and games that you would love, because I've seen the type of games you play that you get from PlayStation Network. Those to the nth degree, you know. So a lot of them end up on PSN, on Xbox Live, are games that were first made for computer. I mean, flat out. But the thing about it, the reason why I play more console games heavily than computer games, and even MMOs now, one is time requirement. Yeah, I can put a lot of time into console games, but most of the time when I'm doing it, I don't have to worry about another person as far as, you know, doing something or, you know, ruining their night if I can't do something, or vice versa, as opposed to on console, you know, when it's time for me or I feel like I'm done or have to get done, I can click it, turn it off reasonably within a short period of time. Whereas when I'm playing an online game on a computer or whatnot, you don't have those easy little points where you can just turn it off. Sometimes, you know, if you don't finish what you're doing, whatever time you spend on it's completely wasted already. Those save points, so to speak.
No. I completely agree.
Yeah.
And
the other issue is monetary, though, because computers and computer games look fucking awesome. Way better than anything you could have on a console if you have the computer to do it. But you have to have the computer to do it, which means you got to spend the money. Not that it's a whole lot of money now to get. I mean, you can build a decent gaming computer for $600-700. It's not top end, but it'll play, you know, pretty much everything except the most taxing of games now at, you know, moderately high settings. But, you know, there's never a place to stop with computers. You know, you get that gaming rig and it can be $600 or it can be $5,000. And the thing about that is, I didn't like is unless you overbuild your computer, because it'll always eventually be out of date. Unless you overbuild your computer, a game comes on, it's not guaranteed to work. It's not guaranteed to look a certain way. You have to go in and fiddle with it and tweak. I'm just lazy. When I put a game in a console, it just works. I know it's going to for a second. I know it's going to consistently have this graphics, you know, et cetera, et cetera. It just works. And while I appreciate the input you have to do into a computer to game, and I enjoy playing computer games, I'm just fucking lazy. I'm just lazy, and I don't want to do it anymore. That's why for the longest time, I only played MMOs, because MMOs are plug and play, more or less.
Well, and you got to continue to dump money into the system in order to make sure that you can do those tweaks and be able to make sure that your shadows show up correctly and they're not blocking out or this or that. You know, fuck all that shit.
Well, I mean, the opposite side of the coin there is that, you know, at least with a computer game, you can usually tweak the graphics to make it not look like shit, as opposed to a console game. Sometimes you can just get them and they look like shit.
Well,
they just do, because the game maker opted to be cheap and make it look like shit.
Fair enough.
And some dick at GameStop conned you into pre-ordering that shit.
Y'all
Like
continue
that
on your
fucking,
line
what
of
was that
conversation for just a moment.
that first person shit that came out like futuristic or whatever? You were up in that like Sky Island place or some shit.
Right.
What was that?
Sky Island.
Yes.
Balls.
You gotta give me a little bit more.
First person shooter. It came out like last year.
Oh, Blink.
Yes, that Brink.
Brink? Was it Brink? Yes.
Oh, you mean the one that John bought that's completely meant to be nothing but a multiplayer game? And he was too fucking stupid to realize it.
Yeah, well, even the people that bought it,
it sucked.
player figured out that it sucked. I mean, every now and then a game just sucks. And then I'm not saying that one was graphically, so it's probably like a bad example as far as that goes. But that's the thing with video game systems is that to me you blow infinitely more money because there are more games that come out that are shit for consoles than there are for computers.
Right. Well, I want to move to this next point before the hate starts flowing. Favorite game series, because I deliberately left any of these games off of my game list because I love the series as a whole more than I actually love a single game.
All right, that's kind of what I did with the series that I picked as my favorite.
Yeah, mine is the Prince of Persia series.
That's your favorite video game series?
Yes, excluding the one from Nintendo because I never played it, but with the continuously building story arc, and especially moving to Game 2 Warrior Within, where from the first game you start with this kind of naive young person, and then you hit Game 2 and he's just kind of like, I've been through some shit. You know, like the Vietnam vets from, the vets from Nam. They're just like, I saw some shit. It's not okay. You've been running from the Dahaka for however long, and that whole idea of incorporating the environment as a puzzle piece, but not showing you how to do it, was more than I had seen in any other game at the time. If you look further into the future, we've got the exact same thing being done with the Uncharted series, but the Prince of Persia series also added the ability to fuck with time, which is something that if you're gonna do, you have to do right, or you're gonna fuck up your entire game.
See, if we're going to talk about games that manipulate time like that, I still have to say that Braid was probably one of the best that I ever played.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. I'm not certain. I never played the game, but I know enough about it to just say, holy shit, you know?
Yeah. I can't knock you for Prince of Persia. Mine was the Legacy of Kain series because I didn't love like one game enough to make it one of my 5 favorite, but overall, like as a story and as having like one of the most awesome character arcs that a character has in anything that I've ever played, like it's a good series.
True.
And I like that the games play differently. So it's not like playing the same thing over and over again, like where you pick up God of War 3 and it's pretty much the same shit but like 2 extra moves. The Legacy of Kain games, they're, you know, the way you play them is different. It's especially a big jump going from Blood Omen, the first one from PlayStation 1, that's pretty much just like a straight up hack and slash, to, you know, the way you play the next one that came out, which was Soul Reaver on PlayStation. You know, well, was Soul Reaver PlayStation 2 or was that PlayStation 1?
No, that was PlayStation 1.
That was PlayStation 1 still, but they actually, you know, managed to find a way to use the graphics and processing power of the PlayStation a little bit better.
Well, and I honestly thought about it for a little bit during our conversation and everything. The reason like why Resident Evil never hit my list, I love the series, I really, really do. But I feel Resident Evil dropped the ball on storyline because they kind of had this ongoing story, and after they kind of did 3, you're like, well, that's just another telling of 2 just from a different perspective. And then they did 4.
Not really. The way 3 story works is the first half of the game is played before the events of Resident Evil 2. The second half is played after Resident Evil 2.
No, and I know that. And then they did Code Veronica, which fills in a couple of blanks, but they don't really do a whole lot of explanation on why Claire's out there and she's looking for her brother, other than the fact she's looking for her brother. And they uncover some shit, and then you get to 4, and none of that crap matters. And then apparently in 5, they never go and talk about what happens in Code Veronica. They just built. I feel like they had this really good idea for a story, and they just stopped caring about it. And we're like, you know what? It would be better if. So
no, the story for Resident Evil's there. It just requires you to. It's one of those games that doesn't spoon feed you the story through the gameplay. You have to read the files that you unlock through the game. You have to read the things that you find in game besides just like picking it up and doing what you have to do.
Oh no, I understand that. It's just it feels like the only time they're trying to make reference to what was going on prior to that is, well, this all started in the events of Raccoon City, and you're like, you really feel like you're just throwing it in to make sure that the connection's there, and it doesn't matter if it's fluent, it's just that it's there. And I question it. I really do. Silent Hill, it's a similar reason, but it's a sequel-based game. But you're right. It's the atmosphere that makes that game more important than the story arc. Because the only 2 stories that are consistent that I'm aware of as of now is 1 and 3. 1 and 3 are about the same story arc. Other than that, all the other things are just about the city and all that kind of shit. You got the Twisted Metal series, which they just keep changing the storylines. Uncharted is up there, but I feel Prince of Persia did it first, so I have to give it to Prince of Persia at that point. What else? The Final Fantasy series, they're all individual stories. They just kind of have that mass title before you get the subtitle of what's going on.
So what are we talking about? Story?
We're talking about our favorite series. Wes said his was Prince of Persia, and mine's probably the Legacy of Kain series.
Sadly enough, if you're going to go with story, I was going to go with Legacy of Kain as well, as far as going across several games.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember when I beat Soul Reaver at the end of it, and it kicked back to Blood Omen, and it finally actually started tying stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a really cool, that's a really rewarding feeling.
Oh, no, I completely understand that.
Who's played a game, especially when it's a game that wasn't huge to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're being rewarded for your knowledge as far as, having played the first game or whatnot.
Right. And I never got into the Legacy of Kain series as much as you guys did, obviously. I watched you played a lot, but not Thomas. I watched you played a lot, but other than that, I didn't get into it. I kind of feel it's the same with the Castlevania series. It's just, I'm good.
Well, Castlevania is like Final Fantasy. They haven't got a damn nailed down storyline when it comes to that.
Other than Dracula keeps coming back and keeps having to get beat by various members of the Belmont family, etc.
Yeah.
Castlevania doesn't really have a connected story.
They're working on that a little bit more with that new stuff, like that one they just came out with like a year or 2 ago, where it was like kind of third person, 3D, tying in having a storyline, but it's a super like prequel type storyline, but it was kind of cool. It's got a pretty good twist ending to the end of the first one. Spoiler alert for those of you listening.
You're playing you don't know this rule, by the way. The spoiler alert rule only applies for anything that came out within the year that we're in.
Okay, well, all right. Well, you're playing as a guy named Gabriel Belmont, and in the end, like, you're facing these guys called the Lords of Shadows and things of that nature, and in the end, you become Dracula. You find out that that Dracula is a Belmont.
Okay.
Like original, like, and then it fast forwards, and you don't see it to begin with, but then it fast forwards to like modern time, like our time, like the 2000s, in like New York City, and Dracula's still alive, and that's when you figure out that it's Gabriel or whatever his name is that he finally went crazy. He went crazy with grief, or he was trying to like bring his wife back from the dead or some shit like that. And he took on like this evil power in order to try to do it. And, you know, of course, anytime you use an evil power, even if you try to use it for good, there's a cost. His cost is that he ends up becoming Dracula.
I see.
It's kind of cool. I never got to play it. I wanted to though.
And then like this, there's a second one getting ready to come out. There was some DLC for that one that they expanded on, but there's a second one getting ready to come out. And it, I guess, is going to continue the story somehow as you playing as Dracula, obviously.
Yeah, I'm.
You are now.
I'm running over all the series that I know, and I still have to. I understand your Legacy of Kain, why you like that one, and if I played it more or was more into it, I think I would maybe be more on with you. But out of all of the game series that I've played, there is nothing that has been more satisfying than seeing a character grow over the storylines instead of either A, getting a different character, or B, getting the same character, just they're in this new situation, you know? And when you dealt in Prince of Persia, the character he just kept growing. You kept learning stuff about him, and because of what happened in the previous game, that affects what he's dealing with now. And
yeah, I mean, I really like. Well, I mean, I honestly, I never played any of them past the first one. Not because I just never got around to it.
And that game,
I really like the first one. I love time travel. I love how that worked. I really like that by the end of the series, Two Thrones or whatever the hell it was.
The weakest out of the games, but yes.
That I like how they brought everything full circle with the ending of that, and it goes all the way back to the ending of the first game.
Yes. That was
like it brings the vizier back and everything.
That
and
was
like
a big play.
Ties back in.
Yeah, it was a.
And
big,
then they
big
made
play.
that really shit awful movie with fucking Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah. We ignore
where
that.
Where he has his like really really awful British accent that he's trying to do, even though he's supposedly a Persian prince.
Yeah.
Lawrence of Arabia, man, what's up?
So what is that?
That movie was like a punch in the balls bad. That's how bad that movie was. If I had an option between sitting down and having to waste 2 hours of my life watching that movie or getting punched in the nuts, I would take the punch in the nuts.
Fair enough. And no, I haven't played the one for the PS3, so I don't know how that game story is. But
it's a complete, like, it has nothing to do with the other story. It's like a complete new storyline, which you can get it dirt cheap now. Like, I mean, you can get it for like $10 or something. From what I heard, like the graphics and everything were good, the art design as well. But the problem is, like, the game is literally you can't fail at it. Period. Like it refuses to let you fail. Like the way it's set up. I mean, you know, in Prince of Persia, they were, you know, smart enough. Oh, that's not how it happened. I messed up the story.
Well, and
et cetera, et cetera.
At that,
but you could still. But I mean, like, it literally, like, it's not even that. Like, from what I heard about it, like, it as soon as you fuck up, make a mistake, it's like try it again.
Yeah. Well, and when the Prince of Persia series came out, it was the first time where the environment wasn't highlighted. Like, when you had to solve the puzzles, you were just like, can I make it to that ledge? Oh God, let's hope. And you jump and you're like, nope, that was not a jumpable point. So you rewind your time and you're like, oh, that was my last time, my time.
Yeah, that's good and it's bad. I like that and I don't like it at the same time, because the problem that I have with stuff like that when it comes to platformers is you could figure out the right way to do something immediately and have it right, but not know it because you accidentally fuck up the jump once or twice.
Yep.
And you think, oh, well, that can't be it because I've you know, it's not clicking, it's not landing. So obviously I need to look somewhere. Then you could spend another like hour trying to figure out the puzzle or the room or whatever, and realize that you had it right the first time. You just timed it half a second wrong, and you spent the last hour not doing anything because you already solved the puzzle. You just didn't get the button pressed right. You're just like, motherfucker, I swear to God.
So,
yep.
So what does that put your series at?
Yeah, I was about to ask him that.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, what?
What would your favorite video game series be?
Oh shit. Just series or was it based on the actual just series or
Yeah,
story or what?
Just a series
Just
of
a
games that you
series.
liked.
Like it can be a non-congruent series. It can be the reason I chose the Prince of Persia series is because it has that point where all the stories are congruent.
Right. I don't think that word means what you think it does.
Yeah, I think you're. Shit, you're right. And fuck, it sounded right. Fuck you.
Okay. You can take this time to go get a dictionary.
That takes too long.
Series. Oh.
Well, it means agreeing or accordant. And geometry, it means coinciding at all points when superimposed. So in like a half-assed roundabout way, it could be usable the way he's using it.
Uh-huh.
Although there are probably much better words.
I don't know those.
You know what? I really can't think of anything off the top of my head. The one I want to go with is one that might not be a popular choice, but I've had hours and hours of enjoyment. I'm going to go with the Ratchet and Clank series.
No, totally understand that.
I get that.
The problem with the Ratchet and Clank series that I have is Insomniac sometimes tries to be too clever for their own good. Like, they'll make one or two games and make refinements to them and add a little different kind of tweaks to them.
Yeah.
And then, like, it seems like on the third game or so of the Ratchet and Clank series, on whatever system they're operating on, be it PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, they said, you know what? We've gone back to this well too many times. Let's try something completely different. And, like, it's just not good. And, like, they should just, they're like, we don't need to put out the same thing because people will get bored. No, people won't get bored. That's why they're buying it, because they enjoy that same shit over and over again with new jokes, new environments, new weapons. That's all you have to change.
Yeah, pretty much. I love when game series do that shit because it's awful. Like Resident Evil is like, man, people must be getting tired of this awesome third-person survival horror. Let's make a really shit-tastic first-person shooter game.
No, not only that, but that's on rails. It's like House of the Dead on rails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even like a true first-person shooter game. It's a House of the Dead game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
I watched somebody play that on like the Wii, whatever one was on the Wii, and I was just like, God, this is just. I would just kill myself if I had to play this game. I would be one of the zombies.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Like for instance, with Ratchet and Clank, you get Ratchet and Clank 1, which was good. Ratchet and Clank 2 on PlayStation though, which is Going Commando. It's fucking phenomenal. Like, I mean, they hit the sweet spot as far as, like, leveling your weapons, the different kind of weapons, the environment, everything, right? Then you get number 3. Well, number 3 changes stuff up again. It gives it, like, a battlefield type kind of feel, like, where, like, you have, like, a home base and you go out and there's, like, little, like, all the levels aren't, like, platforming levels. Like, part of them is just, like, these little missions you have to complete that are, like, waves of enemies. Mm-hmm. And it's like, then you got number 4, which is up your Deadlock, Ratchet, Deadlock. It's not even Ratchet and Clank, it's Ratchet, Deadlock. And it's nothing but arena battles. Now, the arena battles are really cool in the games if you get good at them, which I did. But a whole game of them, no. I want them as like a side thing to do. Mm-hmm. All right, then you switch over to PlayStation 3. Once again, first game, Ratchet and Clank Future, Tools of Destruction. Awesome game. Platforming, beautiful looking game. Looks like a damn Pixar movie.
Right.
Like, at some point. Platforming's there, weapons there. They maintained a lot of the stuff they added in the third game on PlayStation 2, but got rid of the bullshit that nobody cares about. Took it back to like being a Ratchet and Clank game. Ratchet and Clank 2. Once again, added a couple different little modes, little puzzle modes you have to do with Clank, but still the same game refined. Then we get to number 3 for PlayStation 3, which is All for One, which is like a 4-person multiplayer game that's just like it's not even like even remotely the same type of game. It's just not good at all. And they do that. It's always like the third game. They're like, well, we've done 2 of these. Let's try to switch it up a little bit. I'm like, no, you motherfuckers, don't do that.
Well, did you ever play
the PS? More guns.
Did you ever play the PSP game? Fuck, I forget the name of that game.
There's a bunch of them. There's like Secret Agent Clank. There's all of them different ones. I haven't played any of the PSP games because I've never owned a PSP.
I think you'll enjoy those. But if you enjoy Ratchet and Clank that much, I think you might enjoy the Sly Cooper series a little bit more. Because what I've played off of
I actually had the demo for like the newest one that's getting ready to come out on my computer because when I bought the Ratchet and Clank Anniversary Collection. They had 1, 2, and 3 from PlayStation 2 on one disc.
Yeah.
And for buying it early, you got early access to the new Sly Cooper demo, which I haven't played because Borderlands came out, and well, I really don't need to say any more than that.
Yeah.
But I never played them originally, but it looks like it'd be fun. It's kind of like the Jack and Daxter games. I played the first one.
Mm-hmm.
The first one pissed me off because I was looking forward to it because I heard they were really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first one just sucks. The first one to me, reskinned. It's collect this many crystals and blah blah blah. And then you get to this area and it gets you like a new item, so you can go back and collect more crystals from the first area you couldn't get.
Right.
It's not good. I don't like those games. I hate them. I can't stand them. They're bullshit.
Well, I've played Sly Cooper 1 and because I got the Plus account and it works out. But 1, the storyline's really good and the platforming is a lot harder. I feel is a lot harder than it is in Ratchet and Clank. Like Ratchet and Clank.
Oh yeah, well, Ratchet and Clank, the platforming is. I mean, it's there, but it's not meant to be hard. It's just meant to be traversal.
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank is all about smart uses of your weapons and shit. Level them up.
Ratchet and Clank, don't get me wrong, is fun, but when it comes down to like what that game is in comparison to its other types, it is the easy way to play a platformer. Sly Cooper, I'm sitting there
no.
and I'm just like
Ratchet and Clank's nowhere. Ratchet and Clank would be like intermediate. I mean, if you're talking about easy, you would go with shit like Spyro, like the first Jack and Daxter.
I forgot about that.
Medieval. Like just the games he was talking about where they're mindless, collect 24 red crystals, 24 blue crystals, and unlock the door to my
fair enough.
Princess Vagina room. Like,
God, I hate those games.
Spyro's
they're just
fun,
so
and I hate
bad.
it.
Like, I mean, at least with Ratchet and Clank, part of the skill comes down in, like, leveling up your weapons and figuring out how to use them and how to conserve your ammo and stuff. There's not even that in games like Spyro. In games like Spyro, it's literally mindless, collect crystals, collect eggs.
I know you guys haven't played it, and you're going to ridicule me till end of days about it, but, I wish...
Oh, you're going to talk about fucking goddamn Skylanders,
yes,
aren't you?
I wish we had that when we were younger. We would have abused that game.
I agree.
Yeah, no.
We're not arguing with you, Wes. Let me once again go over the conversation I had with Chris when I saw Skylanders come out. This is what I said. I said, man, that game looks fucking so cool. I said, I wish I was like 10 or 12 or 11 or whatever, and it existed then, because I would have like spent a ridiculous amount of money buying that shit and going over to a friend's house and like, bringing my character and playing so whatever. I said, it's too bad that we're old now and it would make no sense if we don't have any to do it. And I stopped for like 3 seconds. I was like, I bet Wes bought it.
And I was like, yep, he probably did. And
well,
then you called and told us. We had that conversation, and you told me, you're like, dude, there's this new game called Skylanders. And like at the back of my mind, I remembered the conversation Chris and I had, and it was just like...
Well, no.
Wes picks on us for like when we play MMOs and getting addicted to that, if you want to call it. But Wes is addicted to anything that's fucking remotely half-ass collectible.
Yeah.
Action figures.
Yes.
Comic books. Action figure video game characters. Magic the Gathering card.
Shut up.
Pirates not the Gathering cards. Fucking Fantasy Dwarfland, kind of not the Gathering, but still a trading card game cards.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Okay.
You have enough cardboard when it comes to Magic the Gathering cards that you could probably build a home to live out of.
Shit. No, I got rid of that size of my collection. It's back down. I just bought a bin to start doing my packing, and I already filled up one, and that's not all the Magic cards. So that sad part's done. You guys want to take a 5-minute break before we rip things apart? I think we should split this into 2 separate podcasts, because we just spent an hour and 13 minutes talking about games we like.
Yeah, that's doable.
All right, so
and that was a short.